Hey, welcome back to Milton Daily Homes. Chuck here. We get a list of 22 properties, so humming right along at that about 20 mark, which is good for after Labor Day. And so we've got the first one up is 1483 Maple, number 305. It's a 267.9. I like the fact that it's a two-bedroom at this price point because the one-bedrooms are even at like 240, 245. But it's the one bathroom holds it back from being up in the higher 290s. So if you look at this one here, it's okay. It's got some decent stuff. It's well kept, and the maintenance fees are about $233.97. So the math on this, you take the maintenance fees $233. It doesn't include heat and hydro. So normally I put between another $50 and $100 for that. So let's just say you're $300 plus or minus. Your taxes are about $150 a month, so you're $450. You put 5% down on something like this. Your mortgage is going to be around $250 because you've got to add the CMHC back in. If you don't know what I'm talking about, come to miltonbuyerclass.com and register for the next one. So roughly your payments are about $500 a month for every $100,000. So if you're mortgaging about $250, you're looking at about $1,250 a month for that. So this one carries all in for probably about, I would say, $1,600, $1,700, that kind of thing. So that's a quick way that you can compare apples to apples. Even something like this one on Green Life. So now you're at $319 for a one bedroom, which seems a little bit high, but this building, the prices are a little bit higher because the maintenance fees are $70 a month, right? So right away you're saving compared to the previous one, probably between $150 and $200 a month. So really this one would feel like something in the Maple building for $260 or $270 because the fees drop and prices go up, but it ends up being equivalent in terms of how much comes out of your pocket. So I hope that made sense. I still think a one bedroom in this building, I mean, we've seen the two bedrooms, 2+1s go for $350. It's very nice inside, but the thing is, even if you took a basic condo and totally flipped it and did all the work in it, how much can you really spend in that condo? $15,000, $20,000. It's just, you reach a bit of a glass ceiling. So I think they'll have a bit of a tough time with that price. Septimus is $327.5. And what's interesting about this is a Mattamy Village town. We talked about this style of home yesterday. For months and months, these models hovered anywhere between about 305, maybe even 3. There was one at 302 and like 315. A year and a half ago, I sold one at 315. So we knew that there was a bit of a down period. One just recently sold at 324 and completely, in my eyes, at least changed the game. Funny because just around that time is one of the larger corner units, which I think you're going to see one in today's list, 250 square feet bigger, sold for $3,000 more. So there was definitely a disconnect. And so it's very important to know these models and to not overpay because historically speaking, long term, I don't think 324 was out of the ballpark. However, in the last 3 months, that was a very high price. So, and that can happen sometimes with lack of supply. It can sometimes happen with these models that one of them sells for a big number, and then the whole game changes. So I call that effect the high tide, low tide. And you know, it's decent inside. It's 1051 square feet, so it's not a massive house. And so this one could really go either way. They could either fall flat, or they could actually really do well based on one of the recent sales. Campbell Avenue is $337.7. It's not a huge house. I mean, it's small, it's quaint. You're pretty much right across from train tracks, which certainly would affect, I guess, your quiet enjoyment of the property. But it's pretty decent access, even to get on the 401. It's not too far away. Cedar Court is $359. So this is it's a Woodbine model, 1356 square feet, and I'm not going to give them a hard time for not having cabinets here because sometimes the maintenance issues, you can see the green tape here. So there were obviously issues with the warranty, and you can see how new the home is. 1, 2 bedrooms. Third one is right beside the camera to the left. That's your master right there. And the 2 rooms in the front are a little bit small, so you have to be careful on size of furniture. But $359 is a little bit high given what else is sold. Short read 359, same thing. The pictures are just brutal. Brutal, brutal. I mean, I've seen some of the worst photos in the last 7 days that I've seen all year. I mean, I mean, these are wretched. But, anyways, it's a corner. It's got a little den on the main floor. Plus, there's 2 bedrooms and 2 washrooms up on the 3rd level. So it's actually a good layout. Short Reed's a pretty quiet street. Park right at the end of the street as well. I believe this side faces. I'm pretty sure you're looking at what we call it, Philbrook, right beside there. Nadland is 396. It's 1130 square feet, which is very high for this particular kind of home. And it's I understand there's hardwood on both levels. They did a bit of a fancier staircase. The kitchen looks okay, but I'd be very surprised if they sold this one. I mean, you've only got 1 full bathroom upstairs. There's no finished basement. There's no premium on it. I'd be very surprised if they came close to that. The thing they have going for it is that there's very few homes for sale right now. So Borden Lane is 414. It's a semi-detached. It is a 4-bedroom. Now, what's fascinating to me is this looks like the old wood and melamine cabinets, which kind of went out in the 80s. So I don't know where they got these from. If they ripped out the builder kitchen and said, hey, I know it would be a great idea. Let's put in those old school cabinets. I have no idea what happened here, or if they painted it or what. I'm fascinated by it because I haven't seen those cabinets in a home. I mean, this home is probably a little over 10 years old, but they didn't even put those in the 90s from everything I've seen. So there it is. Decent sized backyard. Fascinating kitchen. Certainly not really, I think, becoming of today's buyer's taste, but Bowring is 434. It's a Spring Ridge model, 1,800 square feet. That's your front room, and then you go down the hall and you've got your kitchen with your family room. So there's family. You've got a couple pot lights in the ceiling. It's nice when you've got the second cutout right here. I just find it tends to keep it a little bit more open. Because what you're seeing in that little window there by the sink is you're seeing when people walk past in the hall, but you're not actually connected to the family room. So anyway, so it's 434 seems like a very fair price for that model. We've got Duncan Lane here at 459. It's an Oleander model. The problem with the Oleander, this family room is not big enough. So all you can do is fit 2 couches side by side, 2 love seats, pardon me, like 2 people each, and then there's nothing that you can do here. This is the only way to position the furniture. The ceiling's nice here, but it's just, to me, it's a bit of an unbalanced floor plan because you've got eat-in, you've got this little area here, and then you've got in the front like a living dining room, but you don't really use that front living dining room. It's separate from everything else. There's 3 bedrooms upstairs plus a finished basement. And the thing about this one here too is that if you look at, there's something in the description here. It says there are 3 other semi-detached at 459 in Scott. Scott's the neighborhood. None have a finished basement, and we are loaded with upgrades. If you have to convince someone too hard, my theory is that they're not going to believe it because people will believe what they want to believe, and they also need to recognize value for themselves, right? There's no convincing that can happen in this process. It's really just showcasing the best features of a home and then just saying, okay, look. So I'm not sure if that helps them or if it in fact almost does that car salesman thing or that thing when you walk into a store and you say, and the person says to you, can I help you? And you say, no, I'm fine, right? It's almost a reaction. Like, I wonder if that statement makes people say, no, I'm okay. I'm going to make up my own mind about this. So interesting. I don't know. I'd be open to your feedback. If you want to share some thoughts by email, it'd be great. This one on Pringle probably is my pick of the day. 498.9. It's almost 2,000 square feet. Double car garage. Pretty good elevation outside. It's Mattamy built. You've got a family room here. They put the fireplace in, which is not usually the place for it, which is right kind of front door and then in. And then you have, this is normally the family room, so you might see a fireplace on this wall here, and then you've got a pretty decent kitchen here. You've got your under cabinet lighting. You've got a family room upstairs plus 3 bedrooms, and it's all put together well. It's all kicking. This is a good price for this home. I'm a big fan, and I love the fact that it's under $500,000. Robson is $525, and it's a single car garage. and it's about 100 square feet bigger than the previous one. Bit of a different design on the main floor. You get a slightly different and larger main floor because you're not accommodating a double garage. You're only accommodating a single garage in the same size lot. 4 bedrooms upstairs. I don't know how much of the yard is grass. You could probably check the virtual tour for that. Given what else has been selling recently, $525 is not that far off. I still feel like these single car garages have pushed a little too high too fast, and what we might start to see is just a bit of a slowdown or a kickback. So we've got Easterbrook at $549. Double car garage, very hard to photograph an empty house. So there are some methods that you can use. There's something called virtual staging, which is very, very interesting, where they're actually virtually placing furniture in the photograph. So this one doesn't have a lot of jump to it, a lot of character, but there's not a whole lot for sale between $5 and $550 for this size of home with a double car garage and a good lot. Now it's funny because they have 4 large bedrooms, but then over here it says 3. So if people are searching for homes and they only want 4 bedrooms, they're not going to see this one. So changing that 3 to 4 would be a very, very good move, because that's one of the criteria points that people definitely search from. Gutowski is beautiful, and it's awesome. So it's not the size that you'd expect to sell for $550, but I think they'll get very close to it, because it's absolutely spectacular inside. It's that model home that everybody looks for. And you can see the kitchen's been done. They got those green apples rocking. You know that's the secret weapon. We've talked about it a lot on Daily Homes. Hardwood upstairs, California shutters. And it's just put together extremely well. So big fan of that one. That one's definitely one of the picks of the day for sure. We've got Lesage. The thing about Lesage, if the hardwood was dark instead of that sort of orangey color, I think it would have been sold by now. And they've got the granite. They've got a lot of nice features in this home. Fireplace in the master bedroom. You've got hardwood up in the master bedroom. Hardwood up on the entire second floor, in fact. There's a rec room as well. It would have maybe been good to have one of the photos as the rec room, because it is finished. I just feel like that flooring, even tweaking the pictures a little bit, so maybe it's just not as orange, would be a very good thing. You've got a little bit of a pie-shaped lot too. There's a lot going for this one. So this is one of those hidden gems that could really be a diamond in the rough. We've got this one on white here. There's no photos, but there's not a lot for sale in Old Milton right now. Double car garage here. You're on a pretty nice street. $639 is a good price point for a move-up buyer in this neighborhood. So I think that if this house is anywhere near decent, they're going to attract a lot of attention. Playfair is $737, so we're more than 3,000 square feet. I think this is a beautiful looking house. I think the gardens, the first impression, Heathwood by far on certain elevations of their homes, I think are some of the nicest looking homes in the new section by far. The kitchen cabinets, I would have hoped they would have done a darker stain. I think it would have helped them out. It looks like a lovely home though. Certainly no complaints here. And for that size of home at $730, it's looking good as well. Wet offers 3,500 square feet. This one jumps about $100,000 in price. You got a 50 by 100 foot lot. It looks like you've got some decent upgrades. The photos, there's only 6 of them, and you can do 9, no problem. This area right here, this is one of my favorite floor plans. I got about 5 of them that I always talk about. I like the plan 4 for a single car garage. I like the plan 6 for the double car garage. I like the wild rose. I love the red cedar because they have this little circular area that's your eat-in downstairs, and then it's a little bit of a kind of a place in the master bedroom to get to different points, and it really looks nice in this design. So that's the circle right there. But if you Google it, if you type in Mattamy Red Cedar, you'll actually find the floor plans. I don't know. I mean, it would be very tough for them. There's been a couple red cedars that have been very nice in the last year that haven't achieved that price. Cathcart is $859. What you're dealing with here is a huge lot, massive piece of property. Very nice looking home as well. We're talking about over 3,000 square feet. we talk about the fact if you see a nicely done garage, if you see a nicely done laundry room, it's a good sign that the rest of the house is going to kick a lot of butt. So if they get that price, they certainly think it would be as a result of the lot, basically. I don't think that the house would command that, but I think the lot certainly would. Taylor Court looks like it's on about 1.5 acres of property. You've got a 2-bedroom. It's a lot of money to pay for a 2-bedroom bungalow, and you've got 2 more downstairs in the finished basement. It's a lot of money, 1.35. We've seen some very nice bungalows not far from this one in Brookville, Campbellville, selling for a lot less than 1.35. So it seems like it's a little bit high to me. You've got this one on Third Line, 1.374. You got lots of space here. It looks like you got about 1 acre of property. I found that the house looks a little bit sparse. So sometimes some of the rooms, you can see this in the basement too. This is just, for me, it just looks like this. There's just a lot of empty space here. And then you have a pool, and they said something about the fact that you could freeze it over. So I don't know if that means you have to close it like you would a traditional pool, or you can just kind of let it freeze. I'm not really sure what's happening there. The one concern I would have, it's pretty close to train tracks. So you're just a short distance away from the train tracks here. But if I zoom out a little bit, you can see how close this property is. So if you check out the A point here, you're just literally just a couple minutes away from the 401. You could probably go down to Walmart within, I would say, 5, 6, 7 minutes, and that can be a good thing. But I think the distance to the train tracks would certainly be an influence. 20th Side Road, 1.395. You're on about 30 acres here. The nighttime photos just are not helping these guys at all. I mean, there's no land shots. They've got a lot of extra things like a kennel operation. That's a completely different issue, because then you're dealing with potential benefit from a business standpoint. You get into taxation issues. So if you're looking for a kennel operation, you want to be very careful on how you approach this in terms of personal residence versus business. I don't have a lot of extra information. From what I've seen sell at 1.4, I appreciate the land. As you get further away, so we're at Guelph and 20th, it's a little further away from, let's say, something like the one we've got on Bell School Line. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's in the right zone, but it's hard because over 1 million, sometimes you got to see this stuff, and I don't know if I'm doing the proper thing by giving you a qualified opinion on 8 photographs and probably like 300 characters of text. So you have to go see this stuff. It's a different thing, like a townhouse versus $1 million house. Completely different to look at online. So that's the list for today. If you have any questions, give us a call, and we'd be glad to help you. Okay, have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.